What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to another episode of the Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast. We've got predictions for WrestleMania week, and we're going to start things off with our NXT TAKEOVER Orlando pay-per-view predictions. A couple matches to talk about here, and the people that are going to be breaking down our thoughts on what is going to be happening Saturday night are myself, as always, Tony Mango, along with Mike Payton.
That's good for you, Tony.
And Sean Walker.
I actually think NXT is going to be better than WrestleMania this year.
You know, most of the time I tend to think NXT is going to be maybe better, maybe on par, whatever like that. I am excited for NXT, but I do think WrestleMania is going to be better. I'm still kind of confident in WrestleMania.
I'm just going to go ahead and say there's no way in hell NXT is going to be better than WrestleMania.
So we got all three different perspectives here.
It's fucking WrestleMania, dude. Like, NXT is going to be a great show, I'm sure, but it's fucking WrestleMania, dude. Like, everyone's shitting on it. Like, they're all, like, being down on it. But the moment that show starts and the fireworks and you see the huge set and, like, the lights and, like, everyone's going to get sucked into it and they're going to have a good time.
As soon as they see the roller coaster, they're going to be like, I'm on a thrill ride. Woo!
How thrilling.
This is such a ride. They made good on their promise. I'm a little bit hesitant about two things in particular when it comes to NXT, and that's one of the reasons why I can't really get as excited about it as WrestleMania, although WrestleMania's got a couple things where I'm like, do I really care about this and that? The main thing that I'm kind of like mixed about right now is we've got the debut of Aleister Black against Andrade, Cien, Almas, and Almas is a guy that I'm sort of okay with, but I think that he isn't really all that amazing. So if he's up against somebody who's entertaining, you know, like a Ty Dillinger or Shinsuke Nakamura or whatever like that, then I tend to just kind of go like, all right, that'll be a good match. I don't really know Aleister Black. I've only seen that one match that Tommy End had at the UK tournament, and I don't really remember much about it. So he could be good, he could be bad. If he ends up being one of these people that's kind of like all hype and he doesn't really stay hype, I guess you could say, then that might be kind of a dud match. I don't really know. But if you guys are a little bit more familiar with him, any insight that you got on Tommy End / Aleister Black? Should we be more excited, less excited? What do you think?
I don't know jack about this guy, to be honest. I have the same exposure you do. He's a UK guy. Maybe Sean would have a little more exposure to him. But as far as Almas goes, I think okay is the best you can really just throw for him. He's not bad. He's a guy I tend to kind of forget about until I'm actually watching him. And I'm like, oh, you know, this guy's fine.
Mm-hmm.
He's fine. He's not offensive. I'm not like yearning to see his next match, but he's fine. He's actually a really good guy to put someone out there for their first match. You know, he's. I mean, I feel terrible pigeonholing him like this, but he's almost like their replacement for CJ Parker. Like,
CJ Parker a little bit better than Parker.
Well, I mean, let's not shit on CJ Parker. I mean, he had a really dumb gimmick in NXT, but this guy has been setting the place on fire over in New Japan since he went there. Freaking Juice Robinson.
Juice Robinson. I knew it was something that was fucking weird.
Yeah, he's actually doing really well over there. So sometimes you just got to give someone a little different motivation, and that's what's going on for him. But for Almas, I don't think it looks good for him here. I think he'll have an entertaining show, but this is obviously Aleister Black's night.
Well, I mean, anybody who's coming in and their first match is at a takeover, I don't remember a single time that somebody's lost their first match, even if it's like regular NXT, let alone at takeover. So you got to assume that on top of that, the babyface is going to beat Almas, right? Like,
you would think that, but Tommy End did lose his first ever match against Adrian Neville in the fucking tournament. So,
but that's the cruiserweight champion.
Plus, it's also Tommy End and not Aleister Black.
Yeah, that was almost like a tryout match. Like, this is his first actual match together.
And a lot of fans, even if they don't want to admit it, are fickle enough that it would be like, they wouldn't make that connection between the two of them. It would be, if he has a little bit different ring gear, he changed his hair up a little bit or whatever. Plus, he's Tommy End, and it's like, how many of us really know all that much about him? If you don't follow the indie scene, you wouldn't know him from TNA. It's not like WCW back in the day where it's like, even a guy like Alex Wright comes from WCW over to WWE. Everybody's going to know who he is because he pops up every fucking Monday. But Tommy N's been, off in different countries and different things like that. So he's not like a Bobby Roode or, even an Eric Young, really. Eric Young comes into NXT and people are like, oh, fuck, Eric Young. I remember that dude from a couple years ago doing a bunch of bullshit, like the Global Championship and all that.
He's doing a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. Oh, there's that fucking tard, like that kind of thing. Which Eric Young, by the way, there's something about Eric Young that I do kind of like, I have to admit. And I've been trying to pinpoint what it is. And I think the last episode of NXT really got to the point where I really was like, you know what? I know what it is now. It's his voice.
I was just about to say that. He's got a very unique voice. It's raspy and
it's like if he smoked like 2 packs a day.
It takes your attention when he speaks. Because you know what? As much as he may not look like it, he sounds like a fucking man.
If he had that same voice and you put that with somebody who had like Bobby Lashley, who was like, you're a bastard and all that kind of stuff. If he would have came out and he would have had that same like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, it would be like, dude, this guy's gonna fucking wreck shop. But then you got Eric Young, who's like kind of on the smaller side, and you're like, oh, look at the little guy. He's like a gremlin or something.
So wait, do you not like SAnitY?
There's parts I like and parts I don't like.
We don't like.
Wait, are we on this match yet? I'm sorry, I'm not meaning to get ahead of us here.
Yeah, we can move on to that. I think we're all going to go with Black winning over Almas, right?
Yeah.
With the SAnitY thing, I like the gimmick, and I think that there's potential for all the different people, although I don't really like Wolf all that much, but I haven't seen too much of him yet. Mm-hmm. Nikki Cross is kind of annoying a little bit, but...
Oh, dude, I love her.
Really?
I fucking love her. She's just got this really awesome attitude, and they found a perfect foil for her with that new chick that came out, that Ruby Riot.
Ruby Riot.
I love them both.
I'm not a fan of Ruby Riot yet. I don't know if it's like I just haven't seen enough of her or whatever. But that promo that she cut, I know a lot of people really, really liked it. I didn't. I thought it was kind of like every indie person comes out there and it's like doing the same sort of promo a little bit, except for catering to a different audience. Maybe it just didn't speak to me. I don't know, but I haven't seen a single match of her, so I can't be like, oh, she sucks, because I have no idea.
I have one complaint, and that's that they gave her the old Zack Ryder pants.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, she's got like the short on one side and long on the other. It looks better on a female, though. I'll give it that. So maybe she'll pull it off better. But no, I love both of these chicks because they really need some chicks with unique personalities. Like the closest thing we've really had to a rocker chick has been Becky.
Yeah,
I guess
she's not that. Yeah, she's got the whole steampunk thing, but as soon as that gets off, she's still just Becky with that straight fire.
I was really upset that chick that Seth Rollins was dating ended up being a Nazi, and they had to like cut ties with her because like I thought she was going to be something different and cool. But now we got these two ladies, so go ahead.
Even if she would have not been a real Nazi, like if they would have given her a Nazi gimmick, it would have been kind of interesting. Imagine the heat. Just like, whoa, God, nobody's got to cheer for this. But I don't like one thing about SAnitY, even though I know it's something that it works the way that it is. Their theme.
Yeah, I fucking knew it.
Oh my God, I hate it.
So bad. It's
like the worst parts of the angry Bulbasaur Kevin Owens thing, but in this like most repetitive thing, just
it's got this really like ugly effect on it too. Like as a musician, I'm analyzing it from that aspect, and they got this like weird warbly effect that goes on it. It's almost like some kind of reverb running through an envelope or something. Like it sounds terrible. I'd like it for them. It's not a track I'm going to go around blasting in my, like if it comes on when I have my wrestling playlist on, I'll skip it 99 times out of 100. But for them, I think it's perfect.
Yeah, it fits them. But the worst part is that they keep doing things where they're like, they come out, they take a long time, they win a match, and then they do a beatdown. So they play it like 3 times each time. And at the time of that, I'm just like, oh, I can't take this. Like 30 seconds of it is more than enough. And they play it for like 6 minutes, basically, and I just want to shoot my brains out. But I think that they're going to be losing here. We got Ty Dillinger, Roderick Strong. Is it Roderick or Roderick?
I think it's Roderick.
Roderick. Like they
Roderick,
go
yeah.
with the E.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I like Roderick better, but I've heard a couple people say Roderick, and I'm like,
That's some dumb Americans. Don't listen to them.
I always used to follow the Spider-Man series, and Roderick Kingsley, or Roderick Kingsley, I always thought it was Roderick, and it drove me nuts that I wasn't really 100% sure. And now with Roderick or Roderick Strong, it's just kind of like, make up your fucking mind, you know? And that Ruby Riot and No Way Jose, who I've actually grown to like No Way Jose quite a bit. It's surprising. Jose. Ty Dillinger is one of my favorites, so I'm rooting for that group, and I think that it's time for them to win, because SAnitY hasn't lost, like, anything yet, have they? Other than Nikki Cross losing that Fatal 4-Way.
Didn't they lose in that tournament?
Oh, that is true. They did lose that. Who did they lose to? That was,
Did they lose to the Authors of Pain?
Was it Authors of Pain, or was it Gargano and Ciampa?
Oh, it might have been. Fuck, I don't remember.
Tag Team Classic 2016. Let's look at that, because that's going to bug me if I don't look it up. They lost by, or maybe it was TM61, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
Who?
Yeah, they fucking fell off. It was TM61.
Man, they were hot for like 5 minutes.
SAnitY beat Roode and Dillinger and Ibushi and Perkins, and then lost to TM61. And TM61 lost to Authors of Pain in a match that was actually pretty decent. It was like the only decent thing that TM61's done this entire time. But you got to feel a little bit bad for Nick Miller, because Shane Thorne's out of the mix, and they're like, yeah, we're not even going to use you as a singles person.
He basically got Uso'd.
Yeah. Although, at least with the Usos, you can still kind of put them out there, and people will be like, oh, hey, look at that, an Uso. Nick Miller comes out, they're going to be like, who is this guy? He's kind of on that Buddy Murphy, Wesley Blake, Oney Lorcan sort of thing, where actually Oney Lorcan's probably got more attention going his way now.
He was just on NXT last week, I think.
With Ho Ho Loon. That whole locker room segment. Or was that 2 weeks ago? Or 3 weeks ago?
I'm pretty sure he was in a match.
Oh, he might
Last I remember seeing him.
I hate that name, by the way.
Thank goodness they're not. Awful name. Thank goodness they're not doing that with Mojo Riley, though.
Mojo Riley. About the SAnitY match, though. What do you think's happened there, Peyton?
I'm gonna be opposite. I mean, I like all those guys on the good guy team, but I think SAnity's just got to stay strong here. There's no reason to have them beaten here, really. I mean, there's no person in particular that's going to come out like, oh, yeah, this is just a hodgepodge of people that got thrown together. It reminds me of like when the Shield was first getting hot and they just threw together random 3-man teams of whoever was good for that month to do it. I think this is just going to be another example of that. SAnitY rocks and continues.
What do you think, Sean? Are you on the pro SAnitY, anti SAnitY?
I'm going pro SAnitY for this one. I reckon SAnitY wins, and then Ty Dillinger will get called up on to SmackDown on the following week. Fingers crossed.
I'm hoping he gets caught up too. But the thing that's making me lean towards SAnitY losing here is Ruby Riot. Because I could see Dillinger, Strong, and Jose have been losing all of their encounters with SAnitY. Ruby Riot comes in and she ends up making all the difference, even though she, isn't like taking down. What's the big guy's name? Now I'm blanking on it. Big Damo is what it used to be, but it's not that anymore. It's
dude,
not
I don't fucking know.
It's not Dozovic, because that's the heavy machinery guy. Son of a bitch. It's Killian something.
Killian Dane.
Killian Dane, that's it. Yeah.
These names are terrible.
Some of them are real bad. Killian Dane sounds like it would be a great villain in like a comic book. Like Batman's gonna fight up the new rich guy in town, Killian Dane, that kind of a thing. But when you see him, he does not look like a Killian Dane. He looks like a Bert Johnson, just sort of like big old Bert. He should be the next one-man gang or something.
Big Birdie.
Big old Birdie. But I think Ruby Riot can beat Nikki Cross here, and SAnitY will still look kind of strong. Give her the sort of Aleister Black thing going on. The new person ends up getting the win, looks like the highlight of the match, sort of a thing. Dillinger, Strong, and Jose get their asses whooped throughout the majority of the match, that kind of a thing. I can see that going that way.
I could see that, and I'll tell you the way you can get the same result going the other way is you just have Ruby Riot beating the shit out of Nikki Cross, and they disappear off to the side somewhere while the finish happens. But you just show her completely dominating over Nikki Cross.
Maybe
and then
follow
neither of
it
them
up the
have to
next
get
week
pinned.
with a win.
Yeah, no, I think that's going to continue. I think the rest of these jabronis are just going to go off and do their own thing. No way Jose. I don't think he has a long-term vendetta with SAnitY. This is obviously a one-time thing. Like,
this is going to be like feud of the year.
and Ty Dillinger, I agree. I'm hoping he moves on up. He's past due. I mean, I thought they were going to follow up after he came out at the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a missed opportunity. But I guess if you didn't have Mania plans for him.
I think in retrospect, we're going to look at that and we're going to be happy that he didn't come up because they wouldn't have had anything for him.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully he comes up. And I'm hoping if he does come up after Mania, he comes up on SmackDown. Because I got to imagine SmackDown's going to be a better spot for him. And Raw is going to be packed with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So look at like Apollo Crews. He came up on Raw. Nobody really gave that much of a shit pretty soon after that.
They still don't give a shit now.
Well, even on the WWE 24 thing, I don't know if you guys got a chance to check that out. They're talking about like Enzo and Cass making their debut, and they're talking about Cesaro making his return and all that. At the very tail end, it's like, oh yeah, and Apollo Crews made his debut. And he's like, oh man, it's great. And that's all they show of him. It's like, oh, I feel so bad for him. But Ty Dillinger would work so much better on SmackDown, I think. And just the idea that, like, people are going to think Raw is going to be the time where we're going to see all these call-ups. Don't forget, we didn't have the brand split last year. SmackDown's going to get some call-ups, too. So, whether it's Asuka, whether it's Dillinger, that'd be kind of fun to, like, ride that momentum a little bit. We got this week is fucking packed, man. And you got NXT, well, you got the Hall of Fame on Friday, NXT on Saturday, WrestleMania on Sunday, Raw is going to be a madhouse on Monday, and SmackDown's going to be able to carry that over quite a bit. Dillinger can end up getting a huge response. Even last night, people are still doing the 10 count for everything. So he's going to go over well, even if he loses. Nobody will care. Speaking of Asuka, though, we got the undefeated Asuka against the undefeated Ember Moon. At least I don't remember her losing a match. This could go either way. We're hearing some speculation here that Asuka might be losing the title here and then just winning the NXT, or not winning the NXT, winning the SmackDown women's title on Sunday night, because they're being very vague about that whole every woman available on the SmackDown roster can do it. They're doing
language,
it on purpose.
The language is very suspicious. I've picked up on that every time they said it too.
Mm-hmm. They've gone out of their way to not even say, like, all women on the SmackDown roster. They're saying every woman available, which could be pointing to a couple people. It's not necessarily Asuka.
It could be, oh God, it could be Kelly Kelly.
It could be Kelly Kelly.
It's been a big rumor she was coming back too.
It could be, even though I highly doubt it, it could be Eva Marie.
It could be Maria. It could be Maria.
It could be Maria. It could be Tamina. Naomi might be able to come back because Naomi's injury was the only thing getting her in the way of WrestleMania. I mean, I doubt that they're going to be like, the big surprise here is Naomi, but it could happen. I mean, she was just the champion recently.
Intrigue is good.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the most interesting things about that. And we'll have a better inclination here, I think, if Asuka loses that title. She does, I think everybody's going to shoot straight up to, oh, Asuka's going to win at WrestleMania. And she might not. People might be disappointed about it, but I'm still leaning towards Ember Moon, even though I think that there's still a possibility that Asuka retains the title here.
Asuka has been undefeated now for a year and a half. It's been a long time. The whole point you do an undefeated streak is to have someone eventually beat it and look better for it. And you can do that with Ember Moon, and I think that's fine because you know what? Once Asuka goes, that women's division gets even drier, and you're going to need to have as many stars as you can there. But at the same time, there is just something really special to saying, here's this woman who spent a year and a half in NXT and has never been defeated, and she's still undefeated now. This woman's unstoppable and one of the most incredible talents ever. Like that, you want to make the women seem legitimate and badass. That's a good way to do it. You're basically giving her the Goldberg treatment while Goldberg is there.
Everybody's gonna start going, Asuka.
Well, they're doing the Asuka's gonna kill you.
I think as well, if Asuka wins as well this weekend, doesn't she beat Goldberg's record?
I think it's after. It's a little bit after.
I don't really know the numbers off the top of my head. I know that she got to a point where they started acknowledging it.
Mm-hmm.
So she's close to it at the very least. But it might be that, like, it might be that's the sort of thing where if she wins this match, then by default she kind of carries over like an extra week or something like that, where it's like longest title reign thing or something like that. I mean, she's clearly the longest title reign by now, I think.
She already got the longest title, both legitimate and fake. But she, I mean, I could easily see them keeping that title on her, still doing the thing on WrestleMania, and then she just gets the same thing that happened to Paige. Like, listen, you can't have both titles. You got to give one of them up. So she hands it over, vacates it, and then we have a tournament.
It'd be a good way to, at least a tournament in that capacity, would be a good way to kind of put over the next person without making it seem like they just came up short, which I would assume it would be Ember Moon.
Honestly, I don't think it would be. I would expect one of those Aussie chicks to get it.
Down fucking A.
Well, see, I think that they are going to get caught up, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I think they're gonna.
Who's gonna be left down there then? You can't take them up.
I know Peyton and Billy have been doing stuff with the SmackDown roster, doing dark matches and shit for them.
Oh shit! Really? Oh god.
They've been doing it for a while.
Fucked.
Here's the thing: Triple H recently was talking about how they tend to strip mine. That was his words, I think. NXT. And he was basically saying, like, yeah, it's going to happen again, but we got a lot of people in the works right now, and we've got. Aaliyah is still down. She's going to be staying down there. She's not getting called up, at least anytime super soon. We'd still have Ember Moon. We'd still have Liv Morgan. Mandy Rose really hasn't made any kind of big impressions yet. They just brought in Ruby Riot. We got Nikki Cross. Rumors that they might sign Paul Ellering's daughter, but that's, neither here nor there. Danielle Camella hasn't been fully brought up yet. Daria. They have that Macy Estrella or
Morgendorfer?
Who's that?
Morgendorfer? Daria Morgendorfer. Never mind.
Oh. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
You just said Daria. I'm like, Daria? Diarrhea?
Apparently on the roster page, at least on Wikipedia right now, there's a couple other people. I don't know who some of them are. Actually, one of them, now that I'm thinking about it, Mary Kate. That's the one that was Rosie Love in TNA, although she lost a lot of weight. There's Bianca Blair. I don't know who that is. Kimberly Frankel. I think she must be that Kimberly girl. Sarah Bridges. I don't recognize that name. And somebody named Victoria, who's just Victoria, so I don't know who that is either. But they just signed a bunch of people from, I think it was China recently too. So they got some people in the woodworks.
Well, I was going to say, I don't know if this has been discussed yet, but it looks like they are preparing for their next big tournament because this seems to be their thing they like doing now, and the next one's going to be women. So I guess if they rated it, if they have enough to last them a few months, they're probably going to get a huge influx once they do that tournament.
You got to assume Deanna is going to be a part of that too. She's been over in NXT a bunch of different times, and she was the first one that did the masked gimmick on SmackDown. What the hell was that called again? The blue jumpsuit thing?
Luchadores or whatever it was?
Yeah, La Luchadora.
La Luchador. There you go, yeah.
Yeah, Deanna she's going to get signed. So that's another one that she's already worked her way in NXT. She's had a lot of matches. I'm sure they'll bring her just straight up and just be like, yeah, just, you don't even need to do the whole developmental thing. You can go straight to being not a pay-per-view, but a TV taping one. So they would be starting with a group of people where, like, it's not the strongest class to have, like, Liv Morgan be a veteran,
Yeah.
But at the same time, they've done the same thing before, and it's NXT, it's developmental. It's not supposed to be as good as Raw and SmackDown, really.
Well, it's not even so much that I'm worried about them leaving NXT barren. I also just don't know if those women are there yet. Yeah. Like, Peyton Royce is pretty good. Billie Kay, I still think is shit.
Really, I think she's all right.
I think
She's got the
both
look
have
and
a lot
stuff
to learn.
down. She's got a character, and that's a good thing.
I think she rides Peyton Royce's coattails a lot.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, she's the Dana Brooke to Charlotte in that whole relationship.
Given the two, I'd rather pick Billie Kay than Dana Brooke. Although Peyton Royce,
Oh yeah, Peyton Royce is the one.
She's the star out of the two for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you what, that's another theme I just do not like. Peyton Royce's theme. It's not as bad as Liv Morgan's, and neither of them are as bad as SAniTY's.
I actually really like Peyton Royce's theme. It reminds me of like Major Lazer.
I don't know, something weird about it. They're like, blah, 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 blah. It's like, I want it to be like normal music and like actually have like lyrics to it. It's bugging me. It fits her though.
Dude, Tony, you have turned into an old man. I don't understand these kids' music. You can't understand what they're saying.
Yeah, I'm an old man in a lot of regards. I've had gray hair for years. It's awful. I blame everything on violent video games these days with these kids, their music, their make-out parties. With Asuka and Ember Moon, though, backtracking to that, though, I'm still, even though I think that there's a chance Asuka will retain, I gotta lean more towards Ember Moon just winning. It seems like if now is the best time for it, they'll probably pull the trigger. Simple thing is probably the better way to go, but I wouldn't be too opposed to Asuka winning. You know, like you were saying earlier, if you want to give her that whole undefeated streak, you want to carry her over into SmackDown, all it's going to do really is make SmackDown look better. It's not going to really hurt NXT. So I'm going Ember Moon. Sean, you got Asuka or
Asuka? Asuka's going to win. 100%.
100%. Is you 100% on that, Peyton, or are you going with Ember Moon? Or a different percentage?
I'm not going to say 100%, but I'm leaning way more towards Asuka than Ember Moon.
Most interesting. So we have the Tag Team Championship match. It's going to be a triple threat. Authors of Pain against The Revival and DIY. I still just do not like DIY's name. They went through that the whole promo recently where they're like, people want us to explain what DIY means. It means a bunch of other stuff other than do it yourself. It's like, okay. I like actually all three of these teams, though. I'd be kind of cool with anybody winning, but I want the Authors of Pain to retain here. I think that they need to stay looking strong. Think that they need to beat DIY, too, as opposed to the Revival, because I want the Revival to come up to SmackDown or Raw. Either one. I mean, I'd rather see them on SmackDown because I like SmackDown a little bit better. But I've fully grown to the point where I have to admit the Revival is one of, if not the best tag teams in WWE. They're great.
Tony, they are top guys.
It's a weird scenario where, I really didn't see what was so great about them at first. And they won me over. They're fucking great. Whether it's a promo that they're cutting where they just typical heels where you just kind of want to laugh at it, but at the same time you understand why you're booing. Which, by the way, there was something last night during the Monday Night Raw. I turned around to a buddy of mine and I was just kind of like, if you really think about it, this is during the women's match at the beginning of the night. I'm like, it's so fucking stupid how like wrestling fans are like, boo, hey, Charlotte's not a nice person. I don't fucking like her. Like that kind of thing. And then Bailey comes out and it's like, hey, she likes, giving handshakes and hugs to little kids. She's a nice person. I want her to win this match. And the Revival will come out and they'll cut a promo and it's like, you're all a bunch of dorks or whatever. And it's like, they called us dorks. We don't like them. Boo. But it's cheap heat that works. And I like it. They're old school. And I usually don't like a whole lot of old school things, but they have a nice little twist on it. And I want to see them go up to the main roster because I think that they're better than the NXT titles now. Keep them on the Authors of Pain. They got a little bit of work that they need to do, but they're kind of cool in their own way. DIY, they can, I like both of them, but they don't need to win them back. I'm actually kind of excited for the match. I think it'll be pretty good. What do you guys think? Leaning one way or another? Got any favorites? Do you think anybody's going to be called up to the main roster anytime soon?
I'm with you, Tony. I reckon the Revival are going to get called up. I think they're going to be stuck on Raw, though, because the Raw tag team scene is a bit shit at the moment. And I'm going to go with the Authors of Pain to win. Just because I like their name. The Authors of Pain.
I gotta imagine they're like writing books backstage.
But it's just the word pain on every page.
Yeah.
Because they only have like a second grade education. So
I was just gonna say they're like they have like those giant pencils that you like kids use like their whole entire hand to draw with and stuff.
yeah.
And they're just like P-A-Y, and then Ellering's like, no.
He like slaps their hand with a ruler.
He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm learning. It's hard. That's why they only have Akam and Razor. They don't have last names yet. It's too hard for them to do both. A-K. Oh, you're getting there. You're halfway there.
The names were originally Akeem and Razor, but they couldn't actually spell those. So they just adjusted it to what they were putting down.
Try to pronounce it. It's like, how do you pronounce your name? It's Akeem. 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 All right, fine. He's fucking up.
Yes, indeed.
So
Revival
you got in
rocks.
the match.
yeah, Revival rocks. But unfortunately, I think this is going to be them doing the honors before they get graduated. Man, I fear for them coming up, though. I think they're going to be one of those teams that the crowd just doesn't get right away. And you know how they get. If you don't get over right away, they get bored of you quickly. And then next thing you know, you're the fucking fashion police.
So I still kind of like the gimmick, though. It's just cheesy enough with like puns for me to enjoy when it's like, you know, the fashion police and they give out the tickets and stuff. But their careers are crap right now. Especially Tyler Breeze coming out dressed up as Nikki Bella, getting, you know, beaten by Nikki Bella.
And listen, there's something to be said for these guys have stable work. They're making good money. They're doing all right for themselves. At the end of the day, maybe they're just fine with that. But I think the Revival is something more special. And I hope that they are able to connect with the way that they're at now. It took a while for them to really get appreciated from everybody, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
I hope, you know what? I hope that they are Triple H guys. You know, Triple H has a few that he just really favors, and he makes sure that they get the good treatment when they come up. I hope that they get that when they come up.
That's one of the reasons why I can see them going to Raw.
Mm.
Like, I mean, right now our champions are Gallows and Anderson, and they're not really the same sort of thing as Revival, but they do sort of have that like bully mentality kind of going on.
Mm.
So it might be a good idea for them to switch brands, but at the same time, who's to say that the draft doesn't come up soon enough where the brands are going to have to switch some of these people around? We could get Revival on Raw, and maybe AJ Styles stays on SmackDown, and maybe the club reunites on SmackDown, and we get Gallows and Anderson losing those tag titles or something like that, you know? But I could see them going over to either side and actually being a success. Depending on who they feud with, too. I mean, that's another thing. If you put the Revival up against, say, the New Day, that's going to be a clash, but it could work really, really well. You put them up against the Vaudevillains, and you know that WWE is not going to give a shit. They did well with Gable and Jordan, though. So there's a wide variety. They can end up doing pretty well.
That was a feud that put them on the map.
Mm-hmm.
Them against Gable and Jordan.
That's
where they really started sticking out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they brought out the best age. In fact, if you bring him to SmackDown, that's probably the first thing you should do. Because to be honest, American Alpha could use a good shot in the arm right now, too.
Oof. You're not fucking joking about that, man. I really like those two, but they are getting shafted so much lately. They won those tag titles, and it's like they dropped off the face of the earth. I mean, we're looking at a 13-match card already for WrestleMania, with 2 WrestleMania musical performances. And we don't have a SmackDown tag title match yet. Even last week on SmackDown, and we'll see what happens tonight, but the Usos win the tag titles. They go to Talking Smack afterward, and they're like, all right, so who's going to be fighting us at WrestleMania? And Daniel Bryan's like, yeah, we'll talk about that. So you got to know that that's going to get bumped if anything gets bumped.
Mm.
But I do think that this triple threat match will be pretty good. I actually think this is going to be better than the one we get with the Raw tag titles at WrestleMania. I'm looking more forward to this than that one, which that could be fun too. I mean, I like those teams, all outside of Sheamus. But if you give me a version of like Gallows and Anderson switched a little bit more into the Southpaw stuff, you end up getting Revival, essentially. So if we ever get the Revival versus Chad Too Bad and Tex Ferguson, that'd be fucking amazing. Did you watch that, Peyton?
Not fully yet, no.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but great things about it.
You watched that, right, Sean?
I chicken pie, and I've been loving it ever since. This fucking whatever leap year pay-per-view has got a better build than fucking WrestleMania now. It's great.
Lethal leap year.
Lethal leap year, boy.
Well, our main event for NXT TakeOver Orlando is going to be Bobby Roode defending the NXT Championship against Shinsuke Nakamura. But before we get into our actual predictions about this match, I want to kind of offset that a little bit by bringing up a different person here and a different subject in general. We have a couple people that aren't on the card, and it's no surprises. I mean, not everybody can fit on the card. Usually those people end up recording ahead of time. They do like an NXT taping before TakeOver, and then they, utilize those kind of people. So, the Liv Morgan and Aaliyah might end up fighting Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, or maybe Patrick Clark is in a match with somebody. Cassius Ohno is somebody who was in this title picture, and they had an Elias Samson feud, and this week we're going to see the culmination of that, supposedly. Do you guys think that it's a mistake to not have Ohno in a triple threat here? Because some people are criticizing that, and I'm kind of leaning more towards I'd rather keep Ohno out of the mix.
I don't think Ohno has any place in this at all. The people who just say that are people who just got boners for indie guys. Like, sit down. Cassius Ohno will have his time. He doesn't have a place here.
He looks fucking gross, though, doesn't he?
He looks terrible.
He looks like a mess. I'm assuming that they wrote the lyrics to his theme after looking at him.
Like,
oh no.
I'm convinced. With Bobby Roode the other day, didn't he? And he looked well fucking gross. It was like, all right, you're wearing a t-shirt and everything, but still you're wearing a skin tight t-shirt which doesn't hide your fat flaps. It's fucking vile, man. Fucking vile. Do a Kevin Owens or something. I don't want to see that shit on television. It was awkward. Felt gross watching it.
Yeah.
Put me off McDonald's. Put me off my McDonald's.
There's like this intense vitriol against fuck that fat ass. Like,
how dare this man be fat on my TV?
Yeah. Doesn't he have like some kind of a thyroid issue or something that he said?
That's what all fat people say.
Oh,
a fucking big bone. I got a thyroid issue.
I love the excuse big bone because it implies that you've got like dinosaur bones inside of you. You've got these like a normal bones in like your arm are all going to be like roughly the same width and everything, and it's like, nah, I'm big boned. Yeah, mine are like the width of like a fucking PVC pipe that's like an oil pipeline. He does look real bad though. Like, I mean, I was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt when we saw him in the suit, and I couldn't really tell. You wear that skin tight kind of outfit, and if you go to the gym and you see people, I'm not one to talk. I'm not in great shape or whatever like that. But I don't wear like performance gear and stuff, and you can get around it quite a bit. And he standing up next to Bobby Roode there, he looked like they just took an indie guy from nowhere and had him lose, But he's got some supporters, and some people were complaining about it, and I don't kind of see the point. I think that Ohno needs to kind of be, if they want to push him that far, the next guy after Nakamura leaves. Keep him out of the mix right now. Maybe do something with that Elias Samson thing, because spoiler alert, if you don't know about what's happening there, there's a loser leaves NXT match tonight, or tomorrow night, and between the two of them, obviously, it's going to be Elias Samson. So some people think that Elias Samson is going to be called up to the main roster. I don't think so. I think he's just going to make an appearance with this mask gimmick that he's been doing on the live events. And if you're going to do that in the NXT taping and thing. Don't bring that in the TakeOver. Keep Bobby Roode and Nakamura pure. Let them go out there, do their own thing. Have a send-off for Nakamura, because I think he's popping up on Monday night. Which implies, of course, Bobby Roode retains the title. got a feeling it's probably going to be the match of the night. Might not be. I mean, that Ember Moon Asuka match could be pretty good. Where you guys leaning?
I'm going with the Canadian win on this because for the same reasons. I reckon Nakamura is showing up on Raw the following week. And I reckon this is going to be the match of the night. It was match of the night. The last takeover is going to be the match of the night again with this takeover, and it's going to be fucking glorious.
One of the things I'm most excited to look forward to is just their entrances. Both of them. I mean, Nakamura's got a great theme. Bobby Roode, that whole thing's going to be great. What do you got with this one, Peyton? You think we're going to get a new champion? Going to get Roode retaining?
There's no reason for Nakamura to get this title a third time at all. It's time for this guy to come up. Do the honors here. And here's the thing, man. Nakamura in his career has not lost very much. I feel like he's lost a lot more than he should have in his NXT run, but that's fine. One more here, and get him to the main roster. This guy should not have spent this much time down there.
Did he
He's been
lose
down there
much
for a
in
full
New Japan?
year. Very rarely, dude. This guy had a better record than The Undertaker.
Really?
Yeah, dude. This guy never lost. Like, you could count the number of losses he had on like 2 sets of hands. Very, very, and that's over like, a 14-year career or whatever it is he's had.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I just assumed that he was like a John Cena type where he won a lot but still lost every once in a while.
No, I would guarantee he had a better record than John Cena has.
Wow.
Yeah, this guy kicked ass over in Japan, and here in America, because he did a lot of wrestling here in America and Mexico, and still same thing, like near spotless record. The guy just
going to
destroyed.
add another loss to his record this week.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's had a lot, and I don't know if it's just to like test the waters with him to see how humble he is with that. And maybe that's why they kept him down there for a year to see if he'll be the company guy. Because I don't know if people really realize how big of a star he was in Japan. Like him,
it's lost on me.
Him, Tanahashi, and I guess maybe Okada really were like the big three over there, and it was really kind of arguable what order it was. And you know how like wrestling is treated in Japan. It's not like it is here in America where it's like, well, there's this joke gimmick thing that some people like, but for the most part, people kind of laugh at it. Like over there, it's respected. Mm-hmm. It's treated as if like it's any other sport. It's in the newspapers. They have restaurants that are wrestling themed, and like, people go there and they like have pictures all over the place. Like it's a completely different world with how it's treated. And for him to be a big star over there basically means he's like an A-list celebrity. He left that to come here and be in Florida developmental for a year and lose to fucking some guy who came and come up with his own gimmick and has to rip one off from 20 years ago. So it's a big jump for him. He deserves better than to keep losing like this. But if it ends this and it gets him to the main roster and he gets to the spot he should be, then so be it.
Now, if you guys are in the same boat as I am, where you assume that he's going to be coming up, would you rather see him on Raw or SmackDown?
Raw.
Because I like SmackDown, and I think SmackDown would be a better show for him, because SmackDown guys have a lot of patience. Well, I say SmackDown fans have a lot more patience with the main guys. So I'm going to go with SmackDown. I want to see him succeed. When he's on Raw, he'll probably be the next Finn Balor and flounder.
Finn Balor didn't flounder. He got injured in his first match.
Flounder and taking that power bomb.
Yeah, he literally had no time to be over. He got hurt in his first match.
All right then, Sami Zayn. Then, all right.
Sami Zayn's pretty over right now too.
Sami Zayn deserves better.
He's featured every week.
He deserves better.
Nakamura, let me tell you, this guy he's gonna be awesome wherever he goes. But I think he's a Raw guy. He's more about the entertainment factor. Yes, he has kick-ass matches too, but he's that character personality that they like to more feature on Raw. And let's be fucking honest, like, you could say what you want about liking SmackDown more, and that's all well and good. Raw is the fucking A show. That's where the bigger stars would be, and that's where he should be.
The issue I have is I want to see him feud with people we haven't seen him feud with yet, which kind of, like, you'd have to go 50-50 and you can't do it, you know? I mean, we have seen him fight AJ Styles with Wrestle Kingdom, but that's a feud that, like, could be a really good one in WWE. I don't want to see him with Samoa Joe.
Yeah, but AJ might also get moved to Raw.
That's true. Yeah, this draft is going to change up a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to get a good indication, too, of like whether this is the same scenario as like the last bunch of brand split stuff that we've had, where it's like they just take everybody from SmackDown and throw a bunch of garbage over there. But I don't know. I mean, I could see him going both ways and kind of being successful.
Let me just put it this way. If it's gotten to the point where the only person they have to fight AJ Styles is Shane McMahon, get him the fuck off that show.
I still just don't understand why they're doing that match. Like, I think it'll be fun to a certain extent. It'll be different. And I can understand the argument that people have where it goes to like, well, Shane McMahon's a big star in the company when it comes to the idea that he's the general manager and not the general manager, the commissioner, and that's a high profile match or whatever like that. It's getting lost in the shuffle. Nobody really gives a shit about it. AJ Styles deserves a better just go out there and have a good match thing. You got one of the best in-ring people in the company, and you're going to put him with Shane?
And it's not even just that. It's just such an awkward way it came together. Like, well, I don't have a match. Well, I'll fight you. Okay.
Hey, I've been supporting you while Daniel Bryan's been crapping on you. But one week, you just decide to be mad at me. And now I hate you instead. Weird scenario. So I'd be fine with Nakamura coming up. And some people were even actually saying that they thought, I highly, highly doubt that this is the case. They were like, well, what if Shane McMahon gets like jumped backstage and he needs a replacement and Nakamura does it? It's not happening. Don't get your fucking hopes up.
Jesus.
You just want Nakamura to show up, and it's not. If you think that that's going to happen, and it happens, by all means, afterward you can be like, I fucking called it, but you're going to be wrong. It's not going to happen. What match of the night? What do you guys think is going to end up being out of this whole thing? They got the 5 of these. Maybe they're going to announce another one, but I highly doubt it. I'd say, gun to my head, I'm going to have to go with Roode Nakamura.
Yeah, I'm saying Roode and Nakamura probably the tag.
That's really a tough one. I think it could be Roode Nakamura. I think it could be the tag. I also will say Asuka and Ember Moon could have a shot at it as well. It's tough.
I think that all three of those title matches, at the very least, are all going to be good. I mean, it could be kind of up in the air when it comes to the other two. We don't know yet. Aleister Black and Almas could have like fantastic chemistry, but that's an unknown. And we know that Asuka's good. We know Ember Moon's good. We know the tag teams are good. And we know that Roode and Nakamura are. So it's like you kind of can't go wrong with those. Very rarely do you put 2 people that are good or 3 people together and it's like they clash,
I will say, as far as wrestling quality, and if they can keep like the showmanship of everything up high too, this could be one of the best takeovers with the potential of all these matches they have on there.
It could be a sleeper because I think a lot of people are kind of ignoring this with WrestleMania week. I'm not hearing a whole lot of chatter about it. So people should watch it.
People have cooled off on NXT a lot.
It's like not the cool thing anymore.
Yeah, it's not the cool thing anymore. I'll say one thing. You know what I'm shocked is not on this is some of those UK like Brit guys.
I'm shocked about that too. Tyler Bate against like Pete Dunne or something.
They're doing that at Access, they're winning.
Yeah, they're doing a match at Access, like where nobody's gonna fucking see it.
And so far, they haven't even announced any of them for the Battle Royal at WrestleMania. So that's surprised. I thought that we would have gotten Tyler Bate at the Royal Rumble even.
So can I just say I never watched that tournament. I've never seen any of these guys.
Really?
Ever. No, I've not seen this fucking champion a single goddamn time except in pictures.
You should give it a watch. It's really good.
At this point, dude, it's so behind. I don't even care. I'm not gonna bother going back and watching it. I do want to see some of these guys, but there's just been no place to watch them. I know they had a couple matches here and there in NXT. I just didn't see those episodes.
I'll admit some of the people are overrated. Now that I've seen like Trent Seven a couple times, I don't see what's so great about him. Tyler Bate's pretty good, although he's 19 right now.
So
it's like you got to give him a lot of credit for being this good at 19.
What am I doing with my life?
Right, I know. I'm fucking 29 right now. I'm going to be turning 30 in a couple months. And you see a 19-year-old who's got a WWE contract. He's a champion, an inaugural champion, spearheading an entire division. And I'm sitting there going, oh man, I got like this much money in AdSense clicks. Like, you know what I mean? I hate it. I'd suggest checking it out if you had like time to kill or whatever, but some things are blown out of proportion. It's not like anybody's going to be like, man, when are they going to sign Sam Gradwell? You know?
I am so behind on, so I still haven't watched Stranger Things, so I'm probably not going to get time to watch the tournament.
I haven't seen that either. I'm assuming it's one of those things that's built up and it's not actually as good as everybody says it is. Maybe it's a little stranger, I don't know. But those are our predictions for NXT TakeOver Orlando. Make sure, of course, when the show is on that you join us over in our live chat on the Mega Maniacs, and the post-show afterward is where we're going to be reviewing what happens, whether we're right or we're wrong. If anything ended up being better than we expected or worse, whatever the case may be with that, we will be breaking that down. And next thing that you're going to hear from us, though, before that is going to be our predictions for WrestleMania 33. That'll be coming up. You know, we'll probably record that tomorrow or so you'll see that sometime Wednesday night or whatever. And, of course, we've got all the other stuff that's happening throughout this week from WWE-related content, so pay attention to the website and everything else if we end up deciding to post some different things about that. Hall of Fame is coming up. We got, just so many things. I'm losing track of it all. But before we close shop here, just go around the table one more time, throw out some plugs. Sean, anything you want to toss out there?
Follow me on the Twitter at I've got Peyton Royce Nudes. And that's about it for me.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic if that leaked. I'm sure you'd be like the first person to know about it.
I'm a watching. I'm a watching.
It's like quote for like a yearbook for like a stalker thing.
I just see Sean sitting there with that in like his search results and hitting the refresh button every like few seconds.
I do it once a day.
I was picturing Sean with binoculars. I don't know why.
Looking at his computer screen.
Even better. Peyton, anything you want to toss out for the plug side of things?
Yeah, guys, you can always catch me streaming almost every night. I am over on beam.pro now, so that's beam.pro/MRPADEN. That's Mr. Peyton. I will be doing live viewing parties both for NXT TakeOver on Saturday and WrestleMania on Sunday. Essentially what that is that I'll have the live chat rolling and we'll be watching the show together. It's generally a good time. I've been doing it the last few months, and WrestleMania, it's going to be a long show. There's probably got to be a few breaks in there, but I'm looking forward to this weekend overall. A lot of people are saying they're not feeling like it's that time of the year. I am. I'm stoked. I especially this past Monday show got me pretty hyped for Mania. And I'm looking forward to what we got going this week. I'm even looking forward to the Hall of Fame for the first time in like a decade. So like
at the very least, man, I'm so looking forward to Cornette. I want him to flip out. He probably isn't going to, but I just want him to.
He is not going to. 100% not going to.
I just want to see him bash people with a tennis racket. That
nuts. He might do. He might do something with a tennis racket.
Alrighty, everybody, that's it for this episode. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and keep checking out the website and the channel for all the other stuff I mentioned earlier. And obviously, as well, for Fanboys Anonymous, go check that stuff out. Ghost in the Shell is coming up Thursday night, so I'm going to be doing a review for that if you're into that kind of thing. I do not follow anime, so I'm going to be going into it kind of blind. But that's it for this episode. Thank you all for watching. This has been another Smark Out moment. And we are being counted out.